Tuesday.
there yet.
We have.
Okay,
Oh.
now we're on. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Hi,
To Live
everyone.
again. It has been a moment. It has been a moment trying to get this going. What would our show be without some technical difficulties?
Always.
That's how it works for us. So I don't know if it's our brains.
Even if we get early.
Yeah, for real. So, hi, it's Mickey.
Mickey, hello.
Today we are going with Ranelle. She's not going to do video, and we're just going to do sound, and that's how we're going to do it today. And if you've read the wherever the title is, I was kind of, but is it the end of the world? And I said Ranelle gives insight into what it could look like based on her NDE. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about that. There's lots to talk about. Crazy things are out there and whatnot, but there's also the people that are like, no, calm down. So I want to get this from Ranelle, and I also want to give my own. And then we'll also be doing. We should be doing a whatchamacallit, meditation after. Ranelle's going to do that. And that's great. And then, so we'll try to keep this much shorter than the 3-hour one that we did.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
So that we could, actually time to make sure we do the good meditation. So we are ready to go. Ranelle, how are you? Oh, the suspense is killing me. Can you hear me? She was able to talk just a second ago, and now I don't hear her. Yeah, this is some CIA level stuff right here. Interesting timing. Okay, well, she's happy to be here because I did talk to her. I hear her again. I hear you.
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
I don't know why. Yeah, I'm fine.
It cut out. We couldn't hear anything for, like I said.
That's weird.
How are you, Ranelle? And it went just nothing. And it's very suspenseful. I thought you were just adding suspense. So anyway, you weren't, but how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I'm not feeling well, so that's why I'm not putting the camera on. I've got still healing from. I found out that I had burns that were unattended, and so I'm trying to heal from those burns right now. Yeah. On my head and my face. So it was in places under the scar tissue, so you couldn't see that it was burned.
Yeah. And
so I'm trying to heal from it. It's been a long road. Yes, they do.
Go deep. So
especially on the head, because they're just right to the skull,
Yeah. For real. So
and I didn't even realize it till 3 months later, or a couple months later. It's been 2 months.
Yeah.
So
interesting. Yeah.
So, I know. I asked you a question today. Speaking of the end of the world.
Speaking of end of the world, let's just go to it.
I think it was because I'm trying to figure out why this is. And I put it on Facebook. I don't know if Mickey, if you saw it, let me know, comment below. And when I ask this question, there's any men listening, please comment below. So the question I asked was, do you think about Rome or Romans? And when you do, how often? And to my shock, my son thinks about it every day. And I asked you, and what did you say? Totally shocked me.
A week. Yeah, a couple times a week.
Why? That's what I don't get. Why? I'm watching
Because
it every day because I'm learning on the History Channel, but
that's
about
probably why, is
Rome and
because we
Babylon.
watch those things. We watch those things ourselves, and that 1,000-year history of the Romans is very fascinating, and it's actually one of the greatest recorded histories. So, and they recorded all their battles. Yeah, I would say that counts. The Roman Catholic Church. So,
Well, that
we'll
and
take it.
Constantine. Yeah,
Yeah.
Constantine was very interesting. The Church of England was started before, so it was the Brits that brought in, all the clergy. So it was started with the Church of England before it became the Catholic Church, and then they moved it to Rome. I think it was Constantine's grandson
Okay.
or son. So I may be wrong. You guys who think
Henry
about it
VIII
all the
broke off?
time.
Is that what you're talking about?
I think so, yeah. I don't know about Henry VIII. I don't really pay attention too much right now to the medieval. I'm actually listening to archaeology all over Britain, all the way to Turkey, to Istanbul. And they're presently just finishing up a very large project of finding the harbor to Constantinople, because, the harbor disappeared. But what was shocking to me is that when they finally found the harbor, they drained it to get to all the archaeology. They found, I think it was 36 boats that sunk instantly. And get this, 35,000 animals in the harbor dead. So they did, and then they found a boat that dated
Just
horses, mostly horses.
that makes sense.
Can you believe it? So I was, their last boat they took out, but it's interesting because the vases in the back of the boat stayed intact. And in the harbor, most of, the pottery also stayed in good shape. Even the boats, because, when I hear about boats being lifted up, out of the ground or whatever, they're usually deteriorated if they're over 2,000 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And these boats are in perfect condition. And so they wondered what had happened that would have caused the harbor to change its projection, from being a harbor to the water shifting completely.
Okay.
And they found out, in Turkey what happens all the time.
Oh, earthquakes.
Yep. And that's what they found.
Yeah.
In the harbor wall, they noticed there was a massive land movement. For land movements, living in California, 3 inches is a lot,
Yeah.
But when we're talking 6 to 8 inches, that's tremendous. It was a massive crack in the harbor. And so that's how all these ships, and suddenly they had because it was right off the ocean, they had a tsunami, which drowned it out the harbor.
Man, that's crazy.
So, so it was really fascinating.
Probably kept everything really pristine because
perfect. I cannot help but think, can you? He never talks, and he's having a conversation with this rabbit.
Oh, well, that
his little rabbit toy.
The rabbit's in for it. The rabbit is in
so he's beating up the rabbit, but I think he doesn't. I think he's really confused with the snow. He doesn't know what to make of the snow.
Yeah, my dog didn't either. He's either. Yeah.
It's like, he sees it coming down, and he can't figure out what that white stuff is.
Well, let's get back to it, because I want to hear. I mean, so what does that lend your mind to when it comes to the end?
Well, it lends my mind to the great earthquakes and the great earthquakes that will happen in diverse places.
Yeah.
And, Turkey has earthquakes, but we haven't heard from Turkey having an earthquake in a long, long time.
Well, until recently, that was a big one.
Yeah. Yep.
Big
and,
the Syria
they
earthquake,
blamed it.
Syria, Turkey earthquake.
Yeah, it hit Syria, so it hit both sides of the harbor or the border, excuse me.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty tragic because none of those walls were reinforced for an earthquake. That's how rare it was. It had been a long, long, long time. So we can count on the fact that we are seeing more volcanoes than we've. In fact, they're keeping their eye on Antarctic right now, and Iceland. Iceland has a volcano that's about ready to go anytime. And that will cause the seas to rise. And I have always saw that Florida, when I lived there, it made me nervous because the land meets the water. There is, there's no hillside to that.
Yeah.
It's just right there, boom.
Mickey said
you can pull right up to the water. It's like,
Mickey says that the big one in Utah hasn't hit yet. Maybe soon? Question mark.
That's a good question. I'm not going to play the Julie Rowe game. I just don't do that with the Lord. The Lord does things in His time. And the earth belongs to Mother and Father. And they'll make that decision. I think that's, we hear about California, and I think when the California plate goes, I think all the little small fracture plates like Utah will get hit. Either that or Idaho. The caldera up in Yellowstone has been having a lot of earthquakes this year out in the lake.
That's a big.
That's the biggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take our country out. Period.
Yeah, the whole west side of the country. I mean, if that's what. So I mean, you're right. It's father's and mother's choice of exactly when and what. But we can see in the moments after it happens, and we can see what has happened, and we can know where about we are, and that's kind of the way that it's set up, so that we can see it, right?
Right. I tell everybody, please have a bug out kit. Make sure that you have a bug out kit and it's out in your car, not in the house, in case the house collapses or there's a pipe leak. Believe me, I just went through a house fire. So make sure that you have that bug out kit outside of the premise. If something happens, you can, take off. I have extra pair of clothes, a coat, always in the trunk, and my bug out kit and first aid. So what if you get injured? You're not going to be able to go to the hospital.
Mm-mm.
And it's not going to be everywhere. Actually, the one I think is going to hit before Utah, and I know that's a really big focus for folks here. The only thing that needs to be a concern for most of the people in Utah is liquefaction. Because in many parts of Utah, in the Salt Lake Valley, if you're in the lowland off of the bench, you are on sand. And so when the earthquake hits, what it does is it causes the house to sink into that sand. We saw that. Remember the house that fell last winter, I think it was, in Draper, that fell off the bench? Did you see that house?
Yeah. Not until you just said that. I remember seeing that. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I actually went up to check it out because when I lived up on the bench, Yeah.
It's the end
Well,
of
I
the
used to live
world.
up
Let's
there.
go into the volcano.
Yeah. But I scout out camps.
Oh,
That's what I do. I scout out what camp do I want to be in and how do I get to it? You know, I'll tell you, anyone with a razor has got it made. My son took me on a razor. I can't believe you could go straight up a mountain, Mike, with a razor.
that's cool.
I mean, he was going
It wouldn't
over
fit in a
big,
bug out
huge
kit.
boulders.
It wouldn't fit in a
A
bug out
bug
kit.
out kit. A bug out kit. It's got a flashlight, matches,
Yeah.
tent,
First aid,
sleeping
like
bag,
you said.
first aid, extra water. Oh my gosh, make sure you've got extra water.
Like a water
Um,
purifier too is not a bad idea. There's some really inexpensive ones that you can get that actually you can suck directly from the a stream if you need to as a straw. But
by the way, yeah, our electrical system has been threatened
oh
by terrorists, by
oh yeah,
Russia
not just by
and
terrorists, by states,
yeah.
by
I mean,
Russia and China.
you better have an idea who. You know, I'm single, but I'm with my son, and I know that he has everything as I do as far as first aid is concerned. But I'm concerned because I'm on the second floor of this apartment and there's a building. This thing is not going to make it. There's no way. Talk about lookbook fashion. This is the spot where it'll happen, I'm sure, because the fracture runs right through the middle of where I'm at.
Well,
That was actually a big reason why they moved the prison,
man, well,
is because of that.
you wouldn't want it to split in half. Be like hitting an
Yeah.
anthill.
Yeah, so I know that when I bought a house in Alpine, Utah, you know, people were warned in Lehi. You know, they had warnings about where you live, you know, to be prepared for the older homes. It's
Yeah.
actually the older homes that are going to have problems. Anything from the 70s, you know, younger, the codes in Utah were really bad. You know,
Hmm.
it's shocking to me that a really old house that I was in that was 200 years old, I think. No, 100,
Oh,
and when the Saints first came to Utah,
okay.
that's how
Yeah.
old it was.
That's nearing 180 years.
Yep. So we were in the house that old. And
Wow.
down in the basement, I went to go see what the foundation looked like, and the whole house was sitting on rocks. That's it. It wasn't fastened to the rocks. There was no cement to the rocks. There was no ceiling of the rocks, you know. So we had to move because the water, that snow that year was so heavy that it hit against the wall and literally drowned the basement when
Wow.
the snow melted. So it may not always be what we think
Yeah.
it might look like. Um, the New Madrid fault line is one that is deeply a concern of mine before, you know, Utah. They're
Yeah.
all overdue. And that's the sad part. It was we're on a continent. You know, I always wondered why we didn't hear a lot about people living here before, you know, when it was just Native Americans, but it wasn't because I actually find a lot of history here. The Phoenicians were here. Knights Templar was here,
It's
and
not here
actually
about
did,
1,000 years
yeah,
ago.
in Salt Lake.
In
Salt
Salt
Lake.
Lake. Wow. Oh, I didn't know they made it Salt Lake.
Yep. Yep.
There's a
I found rocks that actually have carvings of the year. The rocks are in
oh
the
wow.
back. There's one massive stone that says 1422
No.
to 1429. There is a monument in, I think it's Bountiful at the park, where they show the landings of the ships that when the water, believe it or not, during the 1400s, the ocean came into the Great Salt Lake. That's how high the water was. So Earth does that. She always is shifting. And if these volcanoes do what they're going to do, the water will rise and cause the plates to shift. And that's
Yeah.
where we're going to have a problem, because the United States has, like, the Middle East has a lot of faults
Yeah.
running through it.
They're all connected and they're all like zigzag together. So,
Yeah, well, we're
at least
on
most.
we're on the Pacific Rim, so we're on the
Yeah.
Pacific Plate. So it only what we need to be concerned about is, sadly, we hit the caldera, the Yellowstone caldera, and the
Yeah.
New Madrid will never fill. Um, but I know a Native American friend of mine who lives in Oklahoma and had a vision that he saw that the waters would flood into the middle of United States, and he tried to get his sister to go with him, and he went up to the Rocky Mountains in Colorado to the level that he knew the water was going to meet. And he tried to talk his sister into leaving, and she wouldn't. And so they set up camp, and he said he was looking over the horizon, and he saw this mass of mud and floods and house and crap flowing over the land.
Mhm.
And he said it came right up to his feet, and he woke up.
Yeah.
So,
That is, that would be the big one. Yeah.
yeah, the New
And that's
Madrid fault line will do that.
yeah.
Will
If it
cause that.
shifts.
It happened before, and
Yeah. Oh, I
yeah,
think you
I
cut
don't
out.
know
Oh,
if
there
you
you
know
are.
that the along the Mississippi, the land moves so massively that there were explosions, literal explosions from rocks hitting each other, and they thought the world was ending because it literally caused major boulders to go flying up in the air and destroyed a massive city. And they honestly had never experienced an earthquake, so they thought the world was over.
Yeah. And I will say this. We look at the title, what we're talking about, and it's like the world is ending, the sky is falling. Like that little Chicken Little, right? The sky is falling. Do you even know what I'm talking about right now? Chicken Little. Oh, now she cuts out. I'm like that's the funniest joke ever, and she doesn't even listen. It's rude. Anyway, yeah, everyone's always like, the world is ending. Like we feel that it's coming and it's soon, and that's something that's been with us for a long time. You can see it. Even the apostles originally with Christ, they felt like it was coming soon. Um, but the signs really are where you can pause and say, okay, well, have these things happened? Have I seen these things yet? And there's a lot of them that have honestly happened in our day. Like we're watching it, and I've found many. So I'm not a alarmist, but we do have to be prepared and make sure that we have what we need and make sure that we have a bug out kit. She's right. Um, but we're going to get into what she saw when she was on the other side when she gets back. Some of the specifics, some of the things that could actually happen and geopolitically actually could happen. Like you wouldn't have been able to see it 20 years ago and see that, oh, that's never going to happen. But now things are different. And I think we can all agree the world has changed a lot in the past just 4 years, right? But even more than that, since the the entire century was just an insane amount of change and an insane amount of uh, we're living in a different world. And so, how are we going to handle it as humans? Are we going to be able to actually, work things out together? And, we have to be prepared for the fact that not everyone thinks the same way that we do. Ranelle, are you back? Oh, you're muted. Okay. Oh,
Okay.
there you go. Okay, there we are. Welcome back.
Oh my gosh. We're going to get a new.
The sky is falling. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Do you?
What?
The sky is falling. Sky is falling. The sky
Oh
is falling.
yeah. It's happening right now, right?
Yeah, that's what I was just saying, is that we can be alarmists in the way that we look at it as humans. We can be like, oh no, it's the end of the world, and I'm more a little more reserved than that. But the signs are there. The signs are real, and we can't ignore them. And so we just have to be ready for those things. And so what we wanted to do tonight, everyone, was kind of based on Ranelle's NDE. She saw some things while she was there. And
yes,
I think it might give some insight into the way things could progress. And I want to say could, because you never,
because we can always choose. That's agency, right?
Yeah, and you also have different locations and different settings, and the same things aren't going to be happening in Washington D.C. that are happening in Utah or that are happening in Oregon. That there's going to be many different things.
South Dakota, or so it's it could be different everywhere.
Things like all prophecy is always local. Prophecy, I mean, not always, but it comes local. So like all prophecies of old that are about Israel, that's all based on a very small piece of the population and a very small part of the world. And so
when you think how big Israel is and how big Gaza is, it's tiny.
Yeah, it's tiny. And so
it's not that big. It's quite a shock to realize that these people are like next door neighbors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like, I want peace for both of them. I wish they would both choose peace.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say for that. I want peace for the kids.
Yeah.
I don't want the kids to be so frightened. But here's the big one that is a quiet, dark, and ugly prophecy. And that is that men's hearts will fail them.
Yep.
And we're obviously seeing that right now. It just seems like, not all, but a lot of people forget that God is always present in their life, that Christ is always the mediator. And my gosh, that's what our next life is going to be. You can choose to be in darkness, but the light always permeates through the darkness, period.
Yep.
I was watching fractals, and fragments the other day on X, and that fascinates me always because, after a while, it looks like the darkness is going to take over the light and the fractal patterns, and then it finally gets to that place where the light just comes in and absolutely engulfs the darkness. And right now we're in that dark period. And I think, I listen to women of Hamas sit there and tell their children, they would rather see their children die killing a Jew than, that's insane. It's just like, why would you tell your grandkids or your children that? And this lady said, I have 22 grandchildren, and I hope you all have to die for the cause. Are you kidding?
So there's two things I want to focus in on there. First, is men's hearts failing them, and that is we can see that, right? But it's also partly when you look at even good, those people that are trying, those people that love, those people that have those things in their hearts, depression and
Yes, thank you. That's the biggest. They believe that now they know what is causing all the autism is the chemical that makes plastic. And plastic itself in our bodies is causing cancer and causing autism
well, that's
amongst children. And I think we're good. We can't, yeah, we can change it. I mean, in Sweden, they did a study on nutrition. And I think that's really critical. I'm going through this period where my immune system, Mike, as you know, is shot to pieces. And that's something that is going to happen with these, and I had just a little house fire. I could not imagine a major event happening and then people dealing with post-traumatic.
Yeah.
Because it affects your autoimmune system.
When things get bad, like really bad, we have a tendency, everything shuts down. So our ability to reach out in love, our ability to accept love, our ability to, because the fear and those things are coming at us, and when it gets really bad. Now there are ways to try and get through that, and that's part of our main challenge here on Earth. But really, we have to at least acknowledge that during those times, that it's difficult, very difficult, and so that leads to people not feeling towards others. That leads to hate, anger, dark side. If you're a Star Wars fan, but it really does, and so. Being able to take control and trying to put love in your heart, like to purposely put love in your heart and to decide that that's what you are going to do. And that is the only way individually that we're going to survive, because I don't think people are going to do that. They're not doing that. People are not doing that. And the worse things get, the worse people are. And so
look, it just takes an electrical grid to go down and be ruined. How in the world? Because we're on a grid, we're all connected. So think about it in that way. If there is a threat where the grid is affected, the entire United States could go into darkness. And I'm sorry, we're not a house without with doors open. If our border is open and the walls are down and the doors are wide open, we're not a house. We're already in a place of being threatened. Our very livelihood, our ability to cope. I know why they brought them in. They brought them in for those, they were in dire need right before this happened for, flipping burgers jobs. And remember that? And there were so many.
There was some people that had that goal. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, flipping burgers in the United States is a lot better than Peru. But who am I? I think that humanity can grow and exist in a higher consciousness, and I hate to use that. It sounds so metaphysical. But I think that when we get our values and our principles in order, it gets our house in order.
Yeah.
And,
and where does that start, Ranelle?
With ourselves.
Our heart.
It starts with our own very souls, and I'll shut down, Mike, you know that.
Yeah, I've seen it.
There are times I shut down and I close off to the world. I'm just too tender. So my feelings get hurt by the smallest things. And it's like, it's not reality, but my body goes into protecting mode, and the protection is shutting
Oh, yeah.
down.
It's made to be automatic, and we have to overcoming it. That's just the wrong word to use, because you're not overcoming it. You just have to learn to love and feel through it, and that's difficult. And
Oh, Mike, I couldn't have gotten
better.
through.
Yeah,
Yeah, I couldn't have gotten through post-traumatic without you.
yeah,
I mean, simple things like a pillow, a comfortable pillow.
yeah.
I hope, Mickey, you don't mind me. I talked to your mom about this, about talking about it publicly, but her mom went through so much. She went through the killing fields in Vietnam, got stuck on a little island, for a long time, and all she had was her shirt to lay on at night. That's it. So she would take her shirt off, fold it, and sleep on it. And she said by the time they finally got off the island, she could see through her shirt perfectly. That's how long they were. And they had to pray that fishermen would come by and show them kindness and bring food to them, because there was no food to be found on these tiny little islands. And human beings have this innate ability when it comes to survival to survive. But I do not understand what's happening even in our own state that you and I live in. How is
Yeah.
it the youth is the number one killer of teenagers is still suicide? Why? What makes them feel? I mean, I grew up in the nuclear age and lived in California, so we were always in fear.
Of something that she will tell us when she gets back. So I don't know where to take that. Yeah, Nikki, her Vietnamese refugee, there's both of them. I mean, there's so many stories like that, and you can see the perseverance of people. But what it's talked about is what is left behind inside. I would like to give that. And essentially, and allow yourself to be uh, loud in your heart will become hard. This world is so difficult and bad sometimes. And so we understand that that's real. The people that don't experience that, I get it. My wife isn't in the same, doesn't have the same things that I deal with. Oh, staticky testing. Is that better? Test. Did this just start? The static. She said static going on. Still. And okay. Well, hopefully it's not too bad. I'll try to talk clear. So we forget. It's easy to forget what kind of things are going on. It sounds weird. Okay. How do we reset, or maybe we get Ranelle back in here and see what's happening, and then I'll drop out when she's and come back in. Okay, here she comes, right here. Hey, Ranelle.
Yeah.
Sound issue going on. I'm gonna drop out real
Yeah.
quick. Come right back in.
You what?
You keep talking, but we can see you.
Oh, no.
I'll be right back.
Well, I hope you're just seeing a dark image is what I hope. Right? Anyway, Mickey, I am so honored to call you friend because you were a big part of my healing and coming to the hospital, and my family. You know who your real friends are when you go through major, experiences like what I went through. And if you can give me a shout out and let me know you're hearing me, it would be awesome.
I am here. I can hear you. Do I still sound weird?
Oh, you
Nikki?
can. Okay.
Do I? Testing. We have, yeah.
So I'm hoping that you like and subscribe our nightmare because I'm telling you, there's something about the importance of what we're talking about. I'm not kidding you, in the best of conditions, Mike, and you and I've had the best of conditions, this happens.
Yeah.
Even with my daughter who streams all
Sounds
the
more
time.
clear? Okay.
And not a hiccup. She doesn't get a hiccup even. But even you remember when we used her computer, we had a problem. So,
yep.
And she uses the same providers.
My computer's great. My internet's great. I never have problems. But until I start and try to do this. So
yeah, I don't know why, but it's because of talking maybe about the subject. I think the provider that we use, cuts things out because of algorithms. Just get on Meta and say certain words, and you'll lose your connection. Yeah, isn't it interesting how we've let this cyborg of a phone become like a like a wart on us, and yet it's something we desperately need. But I do miss the old telephone. That was ready, steady, Betty.
I do not.
You don't?
No, I don't. Because I just stay in one spot, and I guess I'm staying in one spot now too. So I mean, what's that? But I get
what's that about?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just having a bad attitude.
Don't you remember what it was like to have freedom?
That I miss. A different kind of freedom. Yeah, different.
Right. I go without my phone all the time. You know that.
Yep.
I won't take my phone. It stays at home. Why? Why be so addicted to it? If worse came to worse, and I've done it. I've grabbed people and said, "Oh, excuse me, can I use your phone real quick?" I can do that. Yeah. Back then, you used to have to carry a quarter to use the payphone. Remember that?
Vaguely. That was in my younger years.
Real younger years. It's sad. Teens.
Yeah.
You can't find a payphone anywhere.
Not really. So anyway, what we were talking about when we got cut off and all this craziness went on.
Well, it's communication, and that's what I wanted to talk about.
It's a good point in that she uses her phone to get places, and with maps, and they're so helpful. And we aren't saying don't use them because they're necessary in our world. They're necessary. We couldn't live. We're so connected now, and so it's just kind of the way it is. But we can complain a little, right? About
I guess so. I like to get grounded. There's something really important about grounding. When it comes to our autoimmune and getting our feet in. I'm glad it's finally snowing because my little feet are going to go straight outside and put them in that cold snow so that I have that opportunity to ground myself to the earth. We don't do that, and our frequency is connected to the frequency of the ground. This is just an engineering fact.
Yeah,
you know.
it really is. We are electrical
I
beings,
mean,
and so you need a ground. Like that's it. Otherwise, the charges get all mixed up. So I mean, it's
right.
basic science. It's
Yeah, you
just
know, they actually have to do that for the astronauts, because when they're in, you know, the float zone, when they get back to Earth, they blow up like balloons. They get congestive heart failure problems, swelling. Um, I know that Elon wants to go to Mars, but I'm thinking to myself, it's a great idea. Do I want to infect a human into another planet? You know?
well,
I
I
want
mean, it's
somebody
not.
greater than myself to know that it's okay to do. But more importantly, that getting them past the Kuiper Belt, getting into space, and not having Earth to ground yourself and try to ground yourself to a different frequency. That I wonder if the body adapts to it. I've always
That
wondered
is a
that
very good
because
question because I
part
mean
of
there's studies I know that they're working on to try and make sure, but it's I mean, well, how do you know? You know, so um,
I will say to everybody, please make sure you put vitamins in your bug out kit because we were talking about catastrophes,
mhm.
um, and you're going to need those nutrients. You're going to need a Powerade. If you're addicted to caffeine like I am, you better have some caffeine in your
Yeah,
backpack. You know, like
you
an
don't want to get
instant
shaky.
energy drink.
Yeah,
Well, no, but you do need the electrolytes. So you know
yeah,
how they have instant electrolytes, or
yeah.
I think they call it IV hydrolate at the store. It's a,
I mean, hydrolate. That's a very made up word. Oh, please say we didn't lose her again. I don't understand. I really don't. I really don't. Okay, but so getting back to really what our topic is, um, when it comes to the men's hearts failing them, that's what we kind of were explaining last, right? And we are in a place where we have to find a way to love ourselves. We have to find a way to allow uh, God to love us. Well, he does, but to feel it. And that's difficult in the best of circumstances, especially if you're dealing with trauma. But it's necessary to a good and healthy life, but also so that we don't implode as a species, right? So, and that's what we're seeing. Men's hearts failing. So there was a second thing I wanted to bring up. Um, 2 points from one of Ranelle's comments, and that was the you know what, I forgot. I lost it. So that's embarrassing for me. Man, all this like weird stuff going on with our connection. I apologize, everybody. I really do. Um, but we will get her back on here and get back to some conversation. I really do want to hear. Here she is. Um, Specifically, what she saw. I want everyone to hear. So as soon as I can connect her in. Connect her in. Yeah. And connect her in.
I Google this time.
Well, you there? Oh,
Yep,
goodness.
I'm here.
Goodness gracious.
Well,
Uh,
this is a little bit slower, but I think I'm not sure. Can you
yeah.
guys? Do I sound okay?
Yeah, you sound okay.
The
You
other
dropped out.
browser is cutting out, and I think it's, yeah, I think it's the satellite here. We're on the
Okay.
internet basis. Speaking of blackouts, we're not, the snow is hitting the satellite system. And when it does that, it'll sound bad and it'll drop out at this apartment. So I
So
apologize to the max.
yeah, I
Where do
talked
you want
about
to take
what
off from?
I want to take off from is directly right into your near death experience. What you
Yeah,
saw and what you expect and kind of how very specific, because we've all heard a lot of
very
these things that you're
specific.
talking about. Yeah,
We're going to see a natural disaster that is going to be catastrophic.
the
Our
U.S.
hearts are going to
specifically.
fail us. Yeah, I think this whole war in the Middle East is going to split the country right down the middle and rip it.
Already
Um,
happened. Uh,
it already is. I think the divide will be deeper to the point
yeah.
that
Oh,
neighbor will hate neighbor. Um, mothers will hate their children if they, I just see it happening already.
yeah.
But like I
You can
said,
see it
there's no
within.
reason. Yeah, there's a point of loving your life and loving who you are and your
Yeah.
mission, your purpose. If you're mission driven and purpose driven, I think that's where I struggle. If I'm not doing this, then I'm not mission purposed. I'm not driven by what I'm here to do. What I asked for before I came to this life and took on this body, I chose this. And I chose how I would show up in this life for the next life. Because what we're doing right now, you and I might, is what we'll be doing in the
Yeah.
next life. And
Based
I
on my
think,
experiences, I believe that.
so whatever our gifts may be, like Mickey makes these beautiful little paper roses. And she's like our quiet little third wheel over there.
Hello, Mickey.
But she brought them, to the hospital. You saw them, how intricate and beautiful they are.
Yeah.
She
And
does origami that just blows you away. The stars that she makes, and she's just so talented that way.
it's wonderful.
Um,
Yeah.
she's also talented in so many art and so many other ways. It's amazing.
Yeah.
She's very
She is an
artistic.
artist. Yeah. So that we're glad. I uh then what? Like we saw a huge
So I think what's going to happen is we're going to see this attack first. After one major natural disaster that'll weaken us, and then we'll see, the grid go down. We'll have, China, and I couldn't believe it that it happened this last year where China and Putin came together.
yeah,
That was
that
just
was
stunning to me.
yeah.
And he wants to cause interdivision already. Today in the paper, stuff came out about Fauci. See, that's one word we can't use. Um,
And you just did.
and I just did, so we can't talk anymore about it.
Yeah.
But it's a scary thing. Um, the virus was released here, not there, by one person. Um, do I believe that? I don't know. I just saw what it did to our country
Yeah.
and how it ripped my business right out from underneath me.
Yep.
It destroyed my life.
It hurt me
Um,
too.
COVID it's, people. And then I sit there and listen to the House today in the House Chamber Committee on Finance talk about there's this big, huge $1 billion cushion that Nancy Pelosi before she left, made sure was in the budget last year,
Oh,
or before she
just a
left the
small
house.
smidgen, a slush fund.
Big slush fund, right? That the bank, the feds are paying for. And I think, my gosh, look at her life though. Look how unhappy her world is.
Yeah, it did.
Is it worth it? Because in the end, your good name is all you have. In the end, your legacy that you leave is critical. So, where you start today by journaling, today I will, and pick 3 things. I will do this for my mission, my purpose, and my life today.
That's
To
smart.
stay
Good.
healthy, happy, and wise.
So,
Today,
so in,
I'm going
oh,
to
go ahead.
acknowledge God. These are the things that will keep us out of the darkness, because I did see how there would be shining lights that would strike through, all the thick darkness, and we're going to see people come together more in groups and communal type living, because the
It does,
cost of
Nikki.
living
Yeah.
is going to
So,
change. Our lifestyle is going to radically change in the next 2 years,
yeah,
and we're going to go, how did we get here?
in her NDE, and she was alluding to it, she did see an invasion, right?
Right, from China and
And you
Russia.
saw, yeah. So you saw that when you were on the other side.
Yeah,
There
it
was
was
things
like
that were
ants.
shown.
Oh, it was, and there are going to be militias and small little governments that come together in states, and we're going to cut ourselves apart from other states.
How did that manifest in the NDE? What did it look like or feel like?
It looked like, sadly, I saw a lot of infighting going on, amongst states with each other in the United States, that the Constitution would be gone, that we couldn't trust anybody, in Washington, D.C.
Oh, definitely not that.
And we'll break off from other states that don't have the same common goals.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's why we all come together with communities that do think. I think she cut out again, but that do think we are the same and think and try to go towards the light. We all experience darkness. Men's hearts failing them is not an isolated thing that happens to just bad people. It happens to all of us at times, and it has gotten worse in this world. So that's kind of where we're going with all this. But yeah, in her NDE, she did see China and Russia coming together, and it's very interesting the way that it works when she explains it. It's like time didn't actually fully exist, and so she's seeing a lot of things all at once pouring in, and so it's not like watching a video, right? So she got all these things and saw all of that, much of past, much of current, what was happening, and then really a lot of what was happening in the future, the important things that's the things that she remembered because they were important. And so that's kind of how it worked for her. And her, I wish she was here explaining it herself, but that is really something that you can see happening in this world. China and Russia. That actually very well could happen. If we are hit by something, like whether it's caused by other other states, other people, whoever, or just a big natural disaster. People are going, and those that want to conquer will take advantage. And so people that think that America is untouchable, I think that's been out the window for 20 years now. But yeah.
Actually, I feel
Welcome back,
sorry for
Ranelle.
I feel sorry for your generation.
Yeah. How much did you hear?
I didn't hear a lot because I finally, I had to, people are calling me right now, and I haven't, my phone never rings. And so I blocked the calls and blocked off all notifications so that my doctor called too. So
Oh,
remind me to call him.
I will. I will try to remind you.
The
Remind me to
thing
remind you to
is,
remind you.
yeah, the greatest thing that gets us through tragedy to triumph is to get ourselves standing up again. There are times, and I know what that feels like, where you feel just absolute petrified. The anxiety level gets so high that you can't move, and you're wondering, why can't I get off the couch?
Yeah.
Why can't I go outside? Um, why can't, I go and do the things I love to do and feel good about it? That takes
Yeah.
practice. That doesn't just happen. It takes a lot of work and a lot of practice. Um, you know, when I had my near-death experience, the life that you choose to be in will be based upon your heart. So if you're not out there allowing yourself to be open with your heart, and you're shut down, the world or the universe or whatever you want to call it, I call it God, I call it Jesus, can't bless you. You know that saying, you can't bless you when pride is present, which is my problem, accepting gifts. By the way, subscribe and like.
Yes. Please do. We need to see her prideful actions.
Yes, yes, please give. Super chat would be nice.
Yeah, if we could do that yet, we will soon. We'll be able to do it soon.
Oh,
So,
okay. I didn't know if you could do that or not yet.
not yet. Not yet.
I want to really focus on the spiritual side because when everything is gone and it's just you, I was talking to a lady today who went through a house fire and
Oh,
nobody helped her. She's in this apartment complex finally with a job and two dogs. She's a little bit younger than me, not a whole lot, but a little bit. Um, and when she was in the same circumstance, she had a beautiful brand new home, lost everything in the fire, and I mean everything. Nobody would take her in, not her family, not her kids. Nobody took
because
her
it'd
in.
be inconvenient, right? Yeah.
Yeah, oh, don't, not in my house.
Yeah.
Not in
Be
my house.
inconvenient.
We saw that with the Maui fires, not in my house. Conveniently, the wealthier homes, I want to know, I want the statistics of did people in the wealthier homes open up their doors to let people come in and be in their homes?
Yeah. That's
Mine, for many years when I was really wealthy, I always had an extra apartment for a family in need.
yeah.
And I honestly thought that I was putting it away in a savings account, that if this ever happens to me, that I'd have a place to go. And guess what? I didn't. But I'll tell you what got me through it was you and Mickey, Leanne, and my kids. That's, like I said, was the first time, and all the time that I've gone to the hospital, which has been a lot, um, that people actually came to see me. Now that was very touching. You know,
Well,
when you have nothing, you have something.
yeah.
And
When you're in
friends.
darkness, that light, just a little tiny light, really makes a difference.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
You know, Mickey made a beautiful little paper carnation origami. I mean, that's the first thing I see when I wake up in the morning, and it makes me smile. I put my head down on that pillow. It makes me smile. It's all I have.
Yeah.
Literally, I'm at the graciousness of my son right now. Everything I own, gone.
And then, I mean, and we can't stress enough that people, are some like your family that have stepped in where they can, right? And so
Right,
you're,
but
it's just,
I could see
but
it was
your stuff, your
inconvenient.
things. Yeah.
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 I watched all my kids who grew up seeing, you know, the choices that, you know, their dad and I made. I think we did a good job. We did our best. We weren't perfect. We had a really tough marriage, but we made if there was a single mom, and I can't tell you how many times we went and bought groceries for single moms without, you know, saying a word, just leaving it on the doorstep and walking away. Um, I had no problem with that. But I thought in my mind, even with the near death, that I'm putting it away in this blessing account. It's not there, Mike. The present is the only thing that you have right now. This moment with me is the only thing you have. And when you go to the other side, the titles, the wealth, all of it goes away. All of it, Mike.
And you're left with what you have inside of you.
Right.
You're left with that. And I mean, there are,
So
yeah, go ahead.
people deserve to know you. People deserve to love you. People deserve to be in your life. That's really hard. And it's so much a mind bender. Why do we do that? It's really not that hard, but why do we do it? Because we're inconvenienced. The truth is
Yeah.
that we're inconvenienced. Do I
Yeah.
want people to see me in my poverty? No.
Yeah. Do I want to risk my things getting stolen or having something get hurt? You know, there's real concerns you have to think about. Like they don't pick up hitchhike. Well, they'd say you shouldn't
Yeah.
pick up hitchhikers anymore. I mean, it's something that doesn't happen near as much as it used to. And you
Oh my
know, I
gosh.
can't
Yeah.
disagree
Remember
with
that?
that, but it's like that attitude has gotten and infected all parts of our lives. Like,
Oh, our whole society.
yeah.
You're right. We don't see hitchhikers. People do not hitchhike anymore.
Mm-mm. Very,
Even
very
the
few.
beggar on the, yeah, even the beggar on, you know, we down here in Salt Lake, you know, along the freeway, you'll see somebody holding a sign going, I got stuck here. I'm driving to such and that, such and such. Can you help me get to where I need to go? You know, well work for a meal. Boy, that's changed.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I want the cash. I remember one time I came up to a corner and I saw the guy put on a fake broken arm and he was asking for help.
And that's the big problem. It's like, and the hard thing is that we still, it's hard to, you can't know unless you saw him put the fake arm on.
Yeah,
But
well, the
you,
woman with the two dogs, that was homeless. Do you think
Uh-huh.
I'm going to just ignore that? No.
No,
My
no.
intention with this Christmas is to leave a little package, thank you for sharing her
Yeah.
story with me. I met a man at the DMV, and I was in so much pain that day. I had done so much, and to sit, it was so full, Mike, and to see it go, I was the last person at the window. How did that work out? I actually asked him, how did I end up being the last person?
Were you the last
Seriously,
one in?
I was the last one to leave that darn place.
Man.
And I was so angry. I couldn't figure out why I was crying. No joke. I was in so much pain. I was sitting there crying. And this wonderful man, his name's Michael,
Hmm.
got talking to me,
Good
and he
name.
was in
Good name.
construction. And yeah, lo and behold, ha ha ha, funny Mike. Um, he was a burn survivor. And so we got chatting and talking. And even though I was in pain, I can't tell you how grateful I was to that man.
Yeah.
And he even went before me. Holy crap. He came in 2 hours after me.
Oh,
And I
wow.
said,
That's
hey,
bad.
why in the world did this happen? They said, it's just the draw.
Yeah,
So when you go to the
that's
DMV, and unless you have an appointment, it's the draw.
well, I'll say this. When you're in darkness or pain, like lots of pain, physical, there's there is one thing that the trick that I've always used, which is start talking or engaging in something that you enjoy that draws your attention and pulls you from that pain and that sorrow, and whether it's emotional, physical, whatever. Um, that's that is my go-to, my first thing. So that's a good story for real, because we did the same thing the other night when we were talking on the phone. You were in a lot of pain, and so we just talked about life, whatever, and you got feeling at least you weren't thinking about the pain, and we were enjoying a conversation. And so finding things to enjoy and finding that joy and hope is necessary. Oh, there
Yep.
you are. You're back.
It's critical because, like I said, when everything's stripped from you, except for your soul, people won't know you for your good name. People won't, but they'll know you for your goodness. They'll know you from your light, what your frequency and your light level is will determine where you want to go and determine where you'll be. It's a desire solely based on you, the individual. And if you can't connect with people, it's going to be a lonely life. It's
Lonely
going to be
existence,
lonely,
because it never ends,
right?
and
I
it can get better. There is important to know that there are times in our lives that we and some people have a hard time doing it their entire life, connecting. There's
right,
whether it's an awkwardness or a whatever it could be, but as long as it's not about the amount of people, it's or other connections, it's about the how genuine and how it is, that kind of connection. And so as long as you are happy with someone, is basically the big thing I want to say. But yes, you do want to spread your light too. That's a different thing. So continue. Sorry, I
yeah.
apologize.
No, 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 that's okay. You know what? I just, when it comes to even this podcast, we need to step it up a game. I don't, you'll always have a problem though, Mike. When somebody has had a really deep near death experience because electronics go out on them all the
Yeah.
time, batteries die, And I can't have an electrical car. I just couldn't even think of what a battery would do with me. And it's sad because I just think that it's not the way to go, in my humble opinion. Electrical cars are not the way to go. Yet I know that's what they're trying to push us into,
Yeah.
tighter and tighter community living. I just don't see that's going to end up good. Um, People will pit against each other.
Yeah.
I saw my own family splintered and split apart. Um, and I pleaded with God when I was on the other side. Why must this happen?
Yeah.
Why is it happening? I don't understand. And it's not predestined. These are just possibilities. There's no cement events, although there are. I have predicted quite a bit of stuff that's come to pass. So there are what I call little light poles along the road, that you can stand in the light and, know you're safe. And
Yeah.
that's what hope does. Hope gives you that little bit of light to know you're safe.
And how do you get hope?
Pardon?
How do you get hope? Where
That's so hard. It's practice. It's practice. It's meditation and hypnotherapy. Changing the mind is changing the world.
and I see it
One person at a time.
I see it as difficult, but more simple. Is that hope is something that
Can't
is
see.
hope is something you can't see.
You can't see. You don't know.
Oh, hope is an expression or an extension of faith. When you are and the faith, whatever it may be, hope is an extension of what you believe and what you really put your feeling into. And so you, to be able to get that, you want to have faith that something is there, something better is there. Because why is there a point if there's not? And there is. You've been there to a degree, right? Yeah, yeah. There's a connection issue again, but she would say, "Yeah, Mike, you're right. That is so right. You are the smartest person I've ever known." Yeah. Anyway, basically, yeah, when she was there, that there's such a you're so much more open in your heart and mind to the real reality of what our existence is and where we're going, where we're headed, and all that kind of stuff. And so it's a tremendous gift to know, to be able to know that there is something that is greater than us, that is better, and we are headed there. So in the dark times, remember to hold on to that faith, that there is something greater, there is something better, because that is how we get through the very things that we're talking about with the end, with the pain and the sorrow and the splitting up of even families. And you can read all this in the scriptures. A lot of the things that Ranelle saw were basically just confirmations of things that were in the scriptures, because there you go, right? But
Yeah, it broke my heart to see people look to the future with saddened hearts on the other side, to see them saddened by the future. And to know that makes it very difficult to passively let life go without having hope and love. And it is obtainable.
Yeah.
And I believe there is a destiny when I saw the other side, because I asked the very questions that you and I have been talking about tonight.
Yeah.
How do I get there? Is simply because there are divine connections with certain individuals in our lives that will come and they will look you directly in the eyes and smile. And know that when they smile, that the Savior is near.
Why?
Because we can't do it all on our own. We can't carry the light alone.
No.
We have to be interdependent,
We're broken
not
light
dependent.
bulbs. We're broken vessels.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it. And the only one that can make up that difference is Christ himself.
Yeah.
Is the
Even
only
if you don't
person
believe in
that
him,
can.
he's still
He's
part of
still
that light.
there.
Yeah. He knows you from before. He's going to know you after. It's just when you get there and you know. But ultimately, he is there, and he has been there, and he will be there. Now, there's the idea of where is he now, kind of thing, right? But for real, what she's saying is something that you should listen. Go ahead, Ranelle.
You know, it's sad because I've had the dead come to talk to me quite a bit, and so many regrets about not loving and being more open with their lives
Yeah.
and their livelihood. The other thing that I saw on the other side is our gifts and our talents that we were given, that we chose. Like somehow we know that I created a bird. I worked on the birds. You know, some people, when they even talk about totem animals,
Mm-hmm.
um, don't realize that what they're doing is trying to make that connection with the thing that they designed before they came to this life.
Yeah.
So
And
innovation and creativity is critical in coming out of the darkness. It's that creative force. Um, it's hard when you're going through it
yeah.
to force yourself to feel it, but you have to. You have to, because you will go on. You will move on.
Yep.
The question is, do you want to stand there alone, sitting on the ground, pouting, going, "I'm not moving till someone comes to me"?
Some days, yeah. Like
I know,
Thursday, okay?
really.
Most
Yeah,
Thursdays.
I get it. I get it. I got to get it together with myself. I
Yeah.
just,
It's a
I'm
struggle sometimes.
insecure right now. I'm really insecure after this. To be that vulnerable
Yeah.
was scary. Um, making that choice between life and death is something I'll never forget
Mm.
for the rest of my life. And we do that every day by our actions. And the Lord says, and if you don't recognize him, he says, I know you not. We were talking about Constantine today, and there's a beautiful vision he had, because they worship pagan gods. And Christ appeared to him and told him directly that he was the only true way to come unto the Father, to claim his glory. So, the question I'm asking you is, what baggage are you carrying right now in your life that you can let go of? And what are you willing to create today? Even if it's something really small, do one thing different, so unique and outside of yourself every single day. I want to be surprised at the end of the day, every day, that
Yeah.
something happened.
Yeah.
That's the funnest part of life for me, is to say at the end of the road, I, in my mind, I'm going to design this beautiful place. And it's going to be filled with my kids and my grandkids. And I mean, those same familiar feelings will be on the other side. You'll still have that desire to be with your children.
And
And
it came with us too, in some degree. There are
mhm.
individuals out there, like you said, that you look in the eye and smile, and that's a connection that was is extending
Yeah,
beyond uh, before we came here.
you're looking. You really are looking into their soul.
Yeah,
Um,
I've had those moments, and I think many people have, at least if their heart's open. Um, it's just you can see them once, and it's interesting thing. Yeah, let us
yeah,
know if you hear this, if you've ever had that moment where you look in somebody's eye or you connect with somebody for the first time, and it could be even in a group and not even have much interaction, and there's a draw that is not attraction in a sense of attracted to somebody, but a draw of I can trust this person. This person is somebody like them. If you've had that experience or that feeling, put it in the comments and let us know, whether it's here in the live comments or the comments after when we post the video. So
oh,
I'm
I
curious.
just put mint in my eye.
That
It yells.
why are you doing something like that when we're live?
It fell in my eye.
Oh my goodness, Ranelle.
Oh,
Well,
mother. Oh,
now
oh,
that she's
oh, oh.
blind, now that we've lost, her left eye. Are you okay?
Holy crap. Oh, oh, oh.
Go wash it out.
Yeah, I got it. It's burning.
Yeah, I'll take care of her, and we'll shut down. We'll make sure that your eyes are not
Oh, man.
okay. Yeah.
Oh,
So we're gonna be here for it. Everybody. This is live. This is how the magic happens.
yeah, all the time.
I really hope you're okay.
Broke.
I don't know what kind of craziness is
It
going
fell.
on.
It fell, and it fell. It popped. You know when you drop something
Was
that
it on the
pops? It
ceiling?
popped right up in my eye.
Oh my goodness. Oh, now we've got connection issues. It's probably your Wi-Fi.
Holy cow.
There you are.
Anyone that knows how to do mint, get mint out of the eyes, let me know.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Mickey says, Ranelle, take care of your eye. We can live. We're good.
What?
We want Mickey says take care of your eye. She's like, come on. Yeah. For real.
I can't even.
I don't understand.
This is my life.
Oh, I know. I've been on the phone with you before when no one's watching, and she's not wrong. These things are, happen. It's like Loki's somewhere around.
Satan does not like me.
Oh, yeah, that's
darkness
true too.
does not like me.
Yeah, that's true too.
I'm going to be honest.
So, yeah.
If you feel like somebody is working against you, you do have tools and ways to protect yourself. And
goggles? I'm sorry.
Yeah, goggles. That sounds good.
Too soon? Okay, you're making a
how about a bubble suit?
Okay, yeah, that's good. You might need one. Let's make you a bubble.
I'll show you what. Are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Holy schmolies.
We all can hear you.
It's peppermint oil.
Oh my goodness, that would hurt.
and it fell and it popped. It's kind of like one of those things when you're sitting at the table and you squirt a lemon and that lemon juice hits your eye.
Yep. So what the
That's what
point you
happened.
were going to make about protections? What were you going to say? She's cutting out. So I'll get her back in here in a second. So hopefully she's okay. I'll check in with her. And we'll, peppermint oil, look what it sounds like, what it was. Hopefully it doesn't, it probably just really hurts. So she is going to do a meditation. As long as she doesn't have to go to the hospital and get her eye removed, she's gonna do a meditation. We're probably gonna do it a separate live event. We'll probably take a 5-minute break, maybe 10, and then come back up. And you can watch it live, or you can wait till after and watch it after. She's gonna be on there recording it, and so that is something that she's gonna do. So we don't have like a 3-hour-long video. It'll be 2 separate. Oh, she's here. I'm going to add her back in and see what you there, Ranelle? Ranelle?
Yeah, this is not meant to be this way.
Yeah.
It's not meant
Is it ever?
to be this way.
Yeah, your bathroom is causing an issue with. Yeah, I can, but it sometimes it cuts out. So what I've told everybody is that
Are you kidding me?
we're gonna cut, but you're gonna come back in 5-10 minutes and start the meditation.
Oh, God.
Does that work? Okay, it does work because she wants to do it. She'll sit in a better spot and get things worked out. And we'll do the meditation. And if we can't, I will put it in the comments just on the channel so that we can, so you know. But she really wanted to do that, and I think that it would be good for her and for anybody listening. So thank you all for listening. I hope it wasn't too chaotic. It was chaotic. Okay, I get it. But hopefully it wasn't really annoying. But hopefully you got some good points out of it and some entertainment at some point. But you guys have a wonderful day. I love you. You're awesome. And remember that we are way more than what the world tells us we are and what we think we are usually. Remember that, because there is power in knowing that you are greater than your circumstance in an eternal sense. So think in an eternal sense. So you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. You too, Mickey.